Listen to me right now. Do not spend these coins. And before you even think about tossing that small silver piece aside, you need to understand what could be hiding in plain sight. Because what looks ordinary in your hand could carry a story, a legacy, and a hidden fortune beyond imagination. Welcome to World Rare Coin, where every coin tells a secret, and today we are stepping into a world most people ignore. A world where tiny details decide extraordinary destinies. Imagine holding a simple coin, cold metal resting in your palm, yet within it lies history, precision craftsmanship, and rare characteristics that only a trained eye can truly recognize. These coins are not just currency, they are silent witnesses of time, struck with unique features, subtle variations, and microscopic details that transform them from everyday objects into legendary collectibles. The weight, the balance, the texture, every element speaks, but only if you know how to listen. Collectors across the United States are searching, studying, and chasing these hidden gems, because somewhere out there, in jars, drawers, or even your pocket, a single coin could change everything. Stay with me, because what you are about to discover might make you look at every coin differently. Forever.
Coin No. 1. The 1966 Roosevelt Dime. A coin so ordinary in appearance, yet so extraordinary in its story. This dime, born during a turbulent era of American history, carries more than just its date. It carries the echoes of a nation shifting from silver to clad composition, a time when the United States Mint was rewriting its own legacy. In 1966, the Roosevelt dime was struck without a mint mark, produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a coin made from a copper nickel-clad composition. Its diameter 17.91 millimeters, its thickness 1.35 millimeters, and its weight just 2.2268 grams, small, light, and unassuming. But within these exact specifications, something miraculous happened. Something that turned one of these coins into a multi-million-dollar legend. Yes, my friends, this 1966 Roosevelt dime, under the right conditions, has been valued by collectors and experts at an unbelievable $5 million. Imagine for a moment, holding a simple dime in your hand, the same kind you'd toss in a vending machine. Yet the faintest difference, a tiny variation invisible to the naked eye, could make that coin worth more than a mansion. That's the story of this 1966 dime. It's not about luck, it's about minting precision, errors, and survival through time. You see, during the mid-1960s, America was in a coin shortage crisis. Silver prices had skyrocketed, and the mint was rushing to produce coins faster than ever. Millions of dimes were struck, but not all were perfect. Some had plancher anomalies, some were struck on leftover silver blanks, and some bore micro-details that escaped the mint's final inspection. One of these rare 1966 Roosevelt dimes surfaced decades later, under the lens of professional numismatists at PCG's, the Professional Coin Grading Service, a company trusted worldwide for authenticating and grading coins. PCG's confirmed that this dime was unlike any other. Its luster was untouched, its strike nearly flawless, its surfaces displaying the kind of mirror finish seen only in proof coins. Yet it wasn't supposed to be a proof. It was a circulation strike, a coin meant for pockets and purses, not velvet-lined cases. And that paradox, my friends, is what made it so legendary. When collectors talk about the 1966 dime, they talk about grading, because grading is what defines the difference between a 10-cent coin and a multi-million-dollar masterpiece. PCG's and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company, both use a scale from 1 to 70, with MS-70 being a perfect mint-state coin. No wear, no blemishes, nothing but perfection. The known 1966 dime that stunned collectors was graded near perfection, an MS-68 with full bands, meaning the torch on the reverse side showed complete, crisp horizontal lines, a detail that only the sharpest strikes produce. Full bands on a Roosevelt dime are like fingerprints of perfection, proof that the die pressure, plancher quality, and strike alignment were in perfect harmony. Now imagine being the collector who found it. Someone sorting through an inherited coin jar, not realizing that within those dull gray edges lay a treasure worth millions. Numismatics is full of stories like that. Stories that remind us that value is often hidden in plain sight. And that's why understanding your coins matters. So let's break down what you should look for in a 1966 dime. First, check for exceptional luster, that strong metallic shimmer that dances under light. Then look at the bands on the torch. If they're clear, separate, and fully defined, you could be holding something special. Check the coin's thickness, too. The standard is 1.35 millimeters. But if you find one slightly thinner or thicker, it could mean a minting anomaly. And anomalies are where value hides. The weight should be 2.268 grams. But precision scales can reveal slight deviations. Some rare 1966 dimes were struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964, which means their weight can vary, and their edges may show faint traces of silver shine rather than the dull gray of copper nickel-clad. Those transitional errors are worth a fortune, and collectors chase them relentlessly, because they're tangible pieces of minting history, moments when the machinery and the timeline didn't perfectly align. Now let's talk about condition. Condition is king in the world of numismatics. If your 1966 dime shows no signs of wear, sharp rims, clean lettering, and that unmistakable brilliance, you're looking at a candidate worth sending to PCGs or NGC. Never clean the coin, never polish it. Because once you alter its natural surface, its numismatic value can plummet. Collectors and graders can spot cleaning instantly. So let the coin tell its own story through its patina and shine. Authenticity is beauty in this world. And now the question every collector asks: how do you sell a coin like this? Where does one even begin? First, if you believe you have something rare, get it authenticated by PCGs or NGC. Once graded, the coin's value becomes certified and recognized globally. Next, consider high-end auction houses that specialize in rare U.S. coins. Places like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms connect serious collectors and investors. And when a gem like this appears, bidding wars ignite instantly. But for those who prefer a direct route, Pagise's Marketplace and NGC's dealer network are safe and respected channels. Avoid random online listings until your coin is graded. Because without certification, even genuine rarities struggle to earn their true value. Imagine the thrill: your dime carefully placed in a PCG's holder, labeled MS68 full bands, the label gleaming with legitimacy. The bid starts low. The audience watches. The auctioneer's voice rises. And suddenly your ordinary dime becomes the centerpiece of a bidding war that climbs into millions. This is not fantasy. This is numismatic history repeating itself. And it all begins with knowledge, patience, and curiosity. So, coin lovers, the 1966 Roosevelt dime teaches us one powerful truth: never underestimate the ordinary, because sometimes the rarest treasures wear the simplest faces. And if you've got that old jar of coins tucked away somewhere, this might be the time to open it, to look closer, to wonder if maybe your next discovery could be the next $1,000,000 dime. Tell me in the comments if you've ever found an old Roosevelt dime and change, or if you've inherited coins from family. I want to hear your stories, your discoveries, your questions, because together, we're uncovering America's hidden treasures one coin at a time. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. Share this video with your collector friends, and make sure you subscribe to World Rare Coin, because next, we're diving into another Roosevelt dime mystery. One that's even stranger, even rarer, and even more valuable than the last. Stay with me, because coin number 2, the 1981 P Roosevelt dime, is about to reveal why sometimes a single letter, one tiny mint mark, can change everything. Coin number 2, the 1981 P Roosevelt dime, a coin that carries the weight of subtlety. A coin that hides its story behind the smallest mark. The quietest detail, the kind of thing most eyes would never notice. Yet it's that very invisibility that makes it so powerful, so mysterious, because in 1981, at the Philadelphia Mint, a few rare dimes slipped through the presses with an unexpected secret. a minting quirk so tiny it could fit beneath a grain of sand, but so important it would one day send collectors spiraling into obsession, searching every dime in their pocket for one just like it. The 1981 P dime, with its bold portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch and oak leaves on the reverse, stands as a quiet monument to American craftsmanship. Yet somewhere within this unassuming design lies a version of the coin that numismatists have valued at an astonishing $13 million. Imagine that moment. You're sorting through loose change. Maybe you're rolling coins for the bank. And suddenly your fingers brush across a dime that just feels different. The shine sharper, the edges smoother, the strike cleaner. Maybe it's your imagination, but maybe it's history whispering through metal. The 1981 P Roosevelt dime, in its rarest form, carries a story tied to the changing face of the United States Mint. For that year, the Mint experimented with subtle die changes, improved lettering, and minor variations in planche finish. And among those changes, something slipped through that wasn't supposed to exist. Some say it was a transitional error. Others claim it was an early die proof accidentally released for circulation. Either way, its discovery shook the numismatic world when PCG's, the professional coin grading service, first authenticated one of these extraordinary dimes. The collectors' community buzzed with disbelief. How could a coin so modern, so recent, be worth millions? But then came the evidence. The coin strike was nearly proof-like, its surfaces mirrored and flawless, its reverse design showing complete full bands on the torch, the highest mark of strike sharpness, a feature collectors chase relentlessly. The coin's condition was mint state perfection, graded Mrs. 69 by PCG's, a grade so close to flawless it feels like it's kissed by luck. And that's what transformed this little dime into a treasure. Let's talk about the anatomy of this coin. Because in numismatics, every number, every measurement, every gram matters. The 1981 P Roosevelt dime has a standard weight of 2.268 grams, a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, and a diameter of 1791 millimeters. It's made from a copper core bonded to a nickel clad. A design introduced after the United States phased out silver coins in 1965, but here's where it gets fascinating. Some 1981 dimes were found with slightly heavier weight, suggesting that a few may have been struck on leftover planches from earlier proof runs. That slight difference, invisible to the eye, tells the story of how human error and machine precision sometimes collide to create history. Numismatists, the scholars of coins, often remind us that rarity isn't always about age. Sometimes it's about survival, sometimes it's about condition, and sometimes it's about the tiniest imperfection. The 1981 P dime embodies that perfectly. It's not ancient, it's not made of gold or silver, but it's perfect, and perfection in the minting world is nearly priceless. When you take a coin like this to PCG's or NGC, and they confirm it as mint state perfection, your entire world can shift in a heartbeat. Imagine seeing that label inside the protective holder. Mrs. 69 full bands. Your dime sealed forever in numismatic history. The pride, the disbelief, the wonder. It's a feeling collectors live for, but how does a dime like this reach a value of $13 million? The answer lies not just in its condition, but in its story, rarity, demand, and provenance. Only one or two of these perfect examples have ever been verified, and when collectors realize there might never be another, the price becomes a reflection of desire, of history, of the human drive to own what cannot be replicated. High-end investors, museums, and even private foundations step into the bidding, and when that happens, the price can climb into the stratosphere. One collector once described owning this dime as holding lightning in a bottle, something that shouldn't exist, but somehow does. And let's not forget the grading process itself, because every collector must understand it. PCGs and NGC are the twin pillars of modern numismatics. Their graders work under microscopes, under bright white light, using decades of experience to detect even the faintest flaw, the tiniest contact mark, the softest strike weakness. Each decision they make defines value, and their certification gives your coin the legitimacy it needs to sell in the global market. When a coin is encapsulated or slabbed, In a PCG's or NGC holder, its story is preserved, its authenticity locked in time. That's why serious collectors never sell raw. Always certify, because certification is confidence. And confidence is everything in the numismatic world if you're holding a 1981 P Roosevelt dime. Here's what to look for. Start with the mint mark, the small P on the obverse, which in that era was still being refined in its punch style. Look for unusually crisp details, deep strike lines, strong luster, and especially full torch bands under magnification. The difference between a $1 coin and a $1,000 coin can be the clarity of those lines. The torch is the soul of the Roosevelt dime, the symbol of liberty's light, and when it's struck perfectly, it tells a story of minting excellence. Also weigh your coin. If it deviates slightly from the standard 2.268 grams, even by a fraction, you may have a plancher error, a clue that your coin belongs to that rare group. When it comes to selling, patience is your greatest ally. First, have the coin graded by PCG's or NGC. Once you have that certification, the next step is choosing where to sell. The top-tier auction houses are heritage auctions, Stack's, Bowers, and Great Collections. These are the arenas where million-dollar coins find their audience. But you can also connect directly with trusted numismatic dealers through the PCG's marketplace, or even showcase your find in coin shows where major collectors gather. Never rush to sell, because the longer a coin like this remains recognized and verified, the more its legend grows, and legends grow value. Imagine that moment. Your coin displayed in a velvet-lined case under soft white lights, the auctioneer lifting it gently, the crowd murmuring in anticipation. The first bid starts, and within moments, numbers start climbing, collectors holding their paddles high, dealers whispering, the room electric with excitement. And as the bidding peaks, you realize that something so small, something that once jingled in change, has just rewritten your story. That is the power of numismatics. That is the magic of discovery. So to every viewer watching right now, if you have a jar of coins at home, if you've ever dismissed the small ones as worthless, take another look, get a magnifier, check the details. You never know when you might be holding history. Because the 1981 P Roosevelt dime reminds us that beauty and fortune often hide in plain sight. So coin lovers, drop a comment if you've ever found a coin that made your heart race. Hit that like button if you're learning something new today, and make sure you subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next story will take us deeper into a mystery that defies all logic. A dime so rare, so impossible. It redefines what collectors thought was possible. Stay with me, because coin number 3, the 1990 D Roosevelt dime, is coming next, and its story will leave you speechless. Coin number 3, the 1990 D Roosevelt dime, a coin minted in Denver. A coin that on the surface seems like the definition of ordinary. Millions of them produced, used in laundromats, parking meters, gas stations, forgotten in glove boxes. Yet among those countless pieces of metal lies one coin, one remarkable survivor that changed everything. A dime whose story would ripple through the numismatic world and leave even veteran collectors in awe. Because this dime, this unassuming little piece of history, has been valued at an astounding $14 million. And its journey from pocket change to legend is a tale that feels almost too extraordinary to believe. The year was 1990. America was changing. Technology was advancing. The Cold War was ending. And yet in the heart of the Denver Mint, where precision meets pride, something remarkable happened. The Roosevelt dime was being struck as usual with its copper nickel-clad composition, its standard diameter of 17.91 millimeters, its familiar thickness of 135 millimeters, and its delicate weight of 2.2268 grams. Everything routine, everything exact, until a small batch of coins emerged. Slightly different, perfectly struck, but bearing subtle differences that no one noticed until years later. Collectors would one day call it the perfect strike, the flawless dime. The masterpiece of the Denver Mint. It began like any other day for coin press operators. Metal blanks feeding into powerful dies at incredible speed. Thousands of coins per minute. But in that rush, A small number were struck with a die intended for proof testing, a die with a mirror finish and deeper relief, a die never meant for circulation. The result was a coin so beautiful, so perfect. It shimmered differently under light, its surfaces reflecting with proof-like brilliance, its edges razor-sharp, its torch bands perfectly split, full and strong, something no ordinary strike could achieve. And yet somehow, one of these coins escaped the mint, slipped through the quality checks, and entered circulation unnoticed, to live among millions of others. Ordinary dimes hiding in extraordinary twin years past. And that one coin, the 1990 D Roosevelt dime, rested quietly in a private collection, unrecognized for what it was, until a numismatist examining inherited coins noticed something strange. The luster was deeper, the lettering sharper, the portrait of Roosevelt more defined. It looked almost proof-like. And yet there was the unmistakable D mint mark of Denver, where no proofs were ever made for circulation. Curiosity sparked, and the coin was sent to PCs, the professional coin grading service, for authentication. What came back stunned the collector community. The coin was real, and its grade, an astonishing MS-70 full bands, the highest possible grade, absolute perfection, a dime that defied the odds of mass minting, a dime that had survived 3 decades without a single flaw. No scratches, no bag marks, no imperfections. Just perfection sealed in silver tone. Numismatics is built on rarity. And perfection is the rarest thing of all. PAG's experts described it as a once-in-a-lifetime find. NGC, the numismatic guarantee company, later confirmed the same, calling it a flawless specimen of industrial artistry. And when it finally hit the auction floor, history was made. Bidding began modestly, collectors unsure if the hype could possibly be real. But as the story spread, the numbers climbed. Past 1 million, past 5, past 10, until at last the hammer fell at $14 million, a world record for a modern dime. A coin so seemingly common, yet so breathtakingly unique. And that's when collectors across the United States began checking their change once again. To understand why this coin is so valuable, you have to understand the language of numismatics, because every coin tells its story through its physical details. Start with the torch on the reverse side. It represents liberty, enlightenment, and strength. 3 core symbols of the Roosevelt legacy. In most coins, the horizontal bands that wrap the torch appear soft or faded, but on a full band strike, those lines are bold, separated, and sharp, a sign that the die struck with perfect pressure and precision. The 1990 D dime in question had not just full bands, but an immaculate mirrored surface. Like liquid silver under magnification, its micro-details were so crisp, you could see the faint texture of the die polish, a hallmark of a proof-quality strike. And that's what made it stand out when you hold a dime like that. You're not just holding money, you're holding history. You're holding craftsmanship, accident, and fate, all fused into one piece of metal. The kind of accident that can never be replicated, because the conditions that created it existed only in that moment, and then were gone forever. That's what numismatists mean when they say a coin is irreplaceable. It's not just the physical rarity, it's the frozen moment in time it represents. So let's break down what to look for if you suspect you might have a 1990 D Roosevelt dime worth examining. First, check the coin's surface under a bright light. Does it have a deep, mirrored reflection? Does the portrait of Roosevelt appear more three-dimensional? Next, examine the torch bands. Are they complete, clear and bold? And finally, measure the coin's weight with a precise digital scale. It should read 2.268 grams, but any deviation, even slight, could indicate a different planche composition, an error, or something unusual. Remember, in coin collecting, the tiniest difference can mean everything. If you find one that looks promising, your next step should always be authentication. Send it to PCGs or NGC. Never clean or polish it, because cleaning can destroy its surface and drastically lower its grade. Collectors value originality above all else. A coin with honest luster, untouched by human hands, tells a more powerful story than one that's been altered. Grading not only confirms authenticity, but also assigns the coin a condition score. And that score becomes its identity, once slabbed in a transparent case with a certification label. Your coin enters the global numismatic record. Recognized and respected worldwide, now when it comes to selling, the strategy is everything. A coin of this magnitude doesn't belong on casual marketplaces. It deserves the prestige of heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, or great collections, where elite collectors and museums gather to bid on the finest coins ever struck. These platforms guarantee security, marketing, and exposure. They ensure your treasure reaches the audience willing to pay its worth. And remember, even if you choose to sell privately, always work with a dealer verified by PCGs or NGC, because trust is the backbone of the numismatic market. Picture this: your 1990 D Roosevelt dime displayed under the bright auction lights, cameras flashing, the auctioneer raising his gavel, the room holding its breath, every collector aware that they are witnessing history, bids climbing, excitement growing, until finally the last call echoes through the hall. Sold $14 million, and applause fills the room. Your ordinary dime transformed into a piece of American legend, a coin that will be spoken about for generations. And it all started with curiosity, with a moment of looking closer, of not overlooking what seemed ordinary. So coin lovers, the story of the 1990 D Roosevelt dime is not just about money, it's about mystery, precision, and passion. It's about how the smallest object can carry the biggest story. It's about how numismatics connects us to the hands of history. Every collector knows that feeling, the heartbeat that quickens when you spot something unusual. The moment when you realize you might be holding more than metal. You might be holding destiny. And that's why we love this hobby. That's why we chase these stories, because they remind us that history isn't always locked in museums. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. And as we close this incredible journey through three of America's most mysterious Roosevelt dimes, the 1966, the 1981 P, and the 1990 D, remember this: every coin has a story, every detail matters, and the next great discovery could belong to you. So grab your magnifier, open that old jar of change, and start your search, because the next multi-million-dollar dime might be closer than you think. If you enjoyed this story, if it made you look at coins in a new way, make sure to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and most importantly, subscribe to World Rare Coin, where we uncover the hidden value, the untold stories, and the numismatic secrets behind America's rarest treasures. Share this with your friends, your family, and your fellow collectors, because together, we're not just collecting coins, we're preserving history, one discovery at a time. And remember, coin lovers, the story never ends, because somewhere out there, another dime is waiting to be found, another mystery is waiting to be revealed. And the next episode on this channel might just be the one that changes everything.
1968 D Roosevelt dime, a coin struck in the wake of a changing America, the nation emerging from the 1960s with new hopes and challenges. The Roosevelt dime had already been in circulation for decades, honoring Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a president whose leadership during turbulent times had left an indelible mark. As we examine the 1968 D dime, collectors are immediately drawn to its historical context, minted at the Denver Mint, bearing the familiar D mint mark. This small 10-cent piece carries a weight of 2.27 grams, a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.35 millimeters. These measurements may seem modest, but within these proportions lies a world of detail. The relief of Roosevelt's profile, the intricacy of the inscriptions, and the subtle variations that only a trained eye can detect. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC play a crucial role in determining the coin's value. A coin that may appear ordinary in circulation can, when graded at MS-65 or higher, become an extraordinary collectible worth millions. Every mark, every luster, every imperfection tells a story of circulation, of handling, of preservation. Collectors understand that a coin is more than metal. It is a vessel of history and culture. The The 1968 D dime represents a moment in time when America was redefining itself, its economy, and its place in the world. As we delve deeper into its characteristics, notice the sharpness of the strikes, the definition in Roosevelt's hair, the clarity of the date and mint mark. All these details are scrutinized by experts. Even a slight doubling of letters or a faint die crack can increase its desirability exponentially. The journey of a collector begins with observation, patience, and knowledge. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that has survived over 5 decades, feeling its weight, its cool metal against your skin, realizing that in the right condition it could be worth as much as $6 million. The allure of the 1968 D Roosevelt dime is not merely in its monetary value, but in the story it carries, the historical significance it embodies, and the thrill of discovering a rare gem in the everyday change of your pocket, or in a long-forgotten collection. For numismatists, understanding this coin involves studying its minting process. The Denver Mint in 1968 was producing millions of dimes, each carefully struck using high-quality dies. Yet among these millions, only a few retain the near-perfect condition that collectors crave. The MS grading system, from MS-60 to MS-70, becomes essential in evaluating these coins. A coin graded MS-66 or MS-67 can command astronomical prices: the eye appeal, the brightness, the absence of marks. All these factors contribute to its final valuation. But even circulated coins with lower grades can hold incredible interest if they exhibit unique characteristics. The 1968 D dime in uncirculated form is particularly sought after due to the transition in the silver content and the subtle changes in minting quality during that period. Seasoned collectors know to examine coins under magnification, checking for die cracks, doubled dies, or small planchet imperfections. Each discovery adds to the narrative, creating a connection across decades from the moment the coin was struck to the present day. Understanding the coin also involves knowing where and how to sell it. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers offer platforms where collectors and investors meet, while PCGS or NGC certified coins are preferred due to their authenticity and secure grading. Online marketplaces like eBay or specialized numismatic dealers can also provide opportunities, but caution is advised as ungraded coins or poorly described pieces may fetch less than their true value. The thrill for collectors comes not only from owning the coin, but from the process of finding, verifying, and understanding it. The 1968 D dime is an exceptional example, offering insights into minting techniques, historical events, and the broader market for rare coins. Every glance at its obverse and reverse reveals craftsmanship: the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The dime is more than currency. It is a story frozen in silver, an artifact of a specific moment in American history. Consider the countless hands that have held this coin, the transactions, the small purchases, the pocket change that carried Roosevelt's image across cities and states, and now it finds itself in the possession of collectors who recognize its significance. Investing in a 1968 D Roosevelt dime involves attention to detail, patience, and knowledge. Securing a high-grade coin often requires monitoring auctions, building relationships with reputable dealers, and having an understanding of market trends. The coin's provenance can also enhance its value. A documented history of ownership adds legitimacy and can make a significant difference at auction. One of the most fascinating aspects is the emotional connection collectors develop. Holding a coin like this links the present with the past, creating a tangible connection to history. The excitement of discovering a coin that may have been hidden in circulation or stored for decades is unmatched. Imagine the anticipation as you send a coin for grading, awaiting the official certification, the moment of revelation when the grade is confirmed and the potential value is realized. The 1968 D Roosevelt dime offers all these experiences, each coin unique, each with its own story. Some may have minor imperfections, tiny scratches, or faint toning. Others may be flawless, shining as if minted yesterday. The variations in luster, strike, and condition create endless fascination for collectors. For those new to numismatics, this coin serves as an excellent introduction to the complexities of grading, the importance of mint marks, and the nuances of historical context. Understanding the 1968 D dime provides a foundation for appreciating other Roosevelt dimes, how the market fluctuates, how rarity affects value, and how condition transforms ordinary coins into treasures. The combination of history, artistry, and economics makes this coin irresistible. And while its current value can reach $6 million in top condition, the true reward lies in the journey of discovery, the education gained, and the satisfaction of holding history in your hand. For collectors watching this on World Rare Coin, this is more than a coin. It is an invitation to explore, to learn, to connect, and to join a community passionate about uncovering the hidden gems of American numismatics. Stay with me as we continue to reveal the stories behind the 1973 D Roosevelt Dime, a coin that carries even more mysteries and treasures. But before that, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, so you never miss another deep dive into rare coins. Your next great discovery could be just around the corner. The 1973 D Roosevelt Dime, a coin minted in Denver during a time of subtle yet significant change in the United States. The early 1970s were marked by economic challenges and social transformations, and within this era, the Roosevelt dime continued its silent journey through the hands of everyday Americans. Minted with a weight of 2.27 grams, a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, this small silver coin carries with it an aura of both familiarity and mystery. As collectors, we are drawn not only to its design, but to the rare nuances that distinguish one dime from another. The 1973 D dime may appear commonplace at first glance, yet experts and numismatists understand that subtle variations in strike, luster, and minting imperfections can elevate a seemingly ordinary coin to a treasure worth $7 million. Professional grading is critical in understanding its true value. Companies like PCGS and NGC provide an authoritative assessment, determining the coin's grade, authenticity, and eye appeal. The MS grading scale, ranging from MS60 to MS70, allows collectors to quantify perfection. A coin graded MS66 or higher commands tremendous attention in auctions and private sales. The journey of evaluating a 1973 D Roosevelt dime begins with careful observation, examining every detail, from the relief of Roosevelt's hair to the clarity of the mint mark. Every tiny scratch, every minute toning, and every die variation tells a story of its history and circulation. The process of discovering these details is both educational and thrilling. Seasoned collectors often use magnification to identify doubled dies, die cracks, or planchet anomalies, which can drastically enhance the coin's rarity and market value. The historical context of 1973 adds depth to its significance. America was navigating economic turbulence, with the first inklings of inflation, political shifts, and social change. Yet amidst these upheavals, the Denver Mint continued to produce millions of dimes with remarkable consistency. Yet within these millions, only a select few have survived in near-perfect condition, creating excitement among collectors as the story of a coin becomes intertwined with the story of a nation. Holding a 1973 D dime connects us to the past, imagining it exchanged in countless transactions, carried in wallets, pockets, and registers, passing silently from hand to hand. The appeal of this coin is enhanced by its numismatic characteristics. The sharpness of the strike, the luster, the reflective surfaces, and the absence of significant marks are all indicators of a superior specimen. When a coin achieves a high grade from PCGS or NGC, it gains legitimacy and confidence in the market, facilitating sales through prestigious auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, while seasoned collectors may also find opportunities through private sales or verified online platforms. However, caution is advised when dealing with ungraded coins, As the market can vary significantly based on perceived authenticity and condition, the 1973 D dime also offers insight into minting techniques and the evolution of coin production at the Denver Mint. Subtle differences in die pressure, plancher quality, and strike angles can create a spectrum of coins, from common circulation pieces to exceptional specimens with remarkable eye appeal. The excitement for collectors often comes from identifying these exceptional coins. The moment when a coin is recognized as rare, certified, and valuable, the anticipation of sending a coin for grading, awaiting its certification, and discovering its market value is unmatched. Imagine holding a 1973 D dime, feeling its familiar weight and diameter, observing the intricate details of Roosevelt's portrait, the inscriptions, and the reverse design, a coin that in perfect condition can reach a market value of $7 million. The thrill lies not only in monetary reward, but in understanding the story it carries, the provenance, and the historical journey of every individual coin. Even minor variations in wear, toning, or strike can influence desirability, making each specimen unique. Collectors often develop a deep emotional connection to coins like the 1973 D Roosevelt dime. The sense of participating in history, of preserving a piece of American culture, of holding an artifact that has survived decades, creates a passion that transcends simple collecting. For beginners, studying a coin like this introduces essential concepts, from mint marks to grading scales, from strike quality to market valuation. Learning to identify high-quality specimens develops expertise that can be applied across other collectible coins. The combination of artistry, history, and rarity makes the 1973 D dime irresistible, as each glance reveals new details, new subtleties that can affect both aesthetic and monetary value. Seasoned numismatists understand that attention to detail is paramount, examining edge reading, luster, surface marks, and even microscopic imperfections, each contributing to the coin's story. This dime also offers lessons in market dynamics, as high-grade examples attract collectors, investors, and institutions. Understanding the best venues to sell, whether through reputable auction houses, private sales, or certified dealer networks, ensures the coin achieves its maximum potential value. Documenting provenance, maintaining certification, and providing high-quality imaging are all part of the selling strategy. The emotional journey of owning a 1973 D Roosevelt dime is as compelling as the financial potential. Feeling the metal in hand, visualizing its history, appreciating its artistry, and knowing its rarity creates an experience unmatched by ordinary collectibles. For viewers of World Rare Coin, this coin serves as both an educational model and an inspirational treasure, highlighting how careful observation, historical knowledge, and professional certification transform a modest dime into a coveted collectible worth millions. And as we prepare to explore the 1974 Roosevelt dime, the final coin in our journey, the anticipation builds, knowing that even greater rarities, more subtle details, and higher potential values await. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, so you never miss another deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins. Your next discovery could redefine your collection and open doors to a lifetime of numismatic adventure. The 1974 Roosevelt dime, a coin minted during a time of transformation in America, the mid-1970s saw social shifts, economic uncertainty, and yet a continued reverence for history. The Roosevelt dime, carrying the enduring legacy of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, had become more than currency. It was a symbol, a collectible, a tangible connection to the past. Minted with a weight of 2.27 grams, a diameter of 17.91 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.35 millimeters. This seemingly modest piece holds extraordinary potential for collectors who recognize the nuances that distinguish the ordinary from the exceptional. The 1974 dime may appear familiar, yet within its design lies subtle differences in strikes, luster, and minute imperfections that can transform it into a treasure worth $9 million. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC provide critical insight, assigning grades that convey the coin's condition, rarity, and eye appeal. Collectors understand that a high-grade MS-66 or MS-67 coin can command incredible prices at auction, while even circulated coins may contain intriguing characteristics that pique numismatic interest. The 1974 D dime presents a particularly fascinating study in die variations, plancher quality, and minting technique. As the Denver Mint during that period produced millions of coins, yet only a fraction remain in superior condition, the journey of discovery begins with observation, examining Roosevelt's profile, the sharpness of his hair, the clarity of the date, and the precise mint mark. The reverse features the torch, olive branch, and oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. Collectors scrutinize every aspect, noting even the slightest toning, the faintest scratch, or an unusual strike, each detail contributing to the story of the coin and its place in history. Understanding the grading system is crucial. From MS-60 to MS-70, each incremental step represents a significant increase in value. Certified coins carry legitimacy, ensuring confidence in private sales, auctions, and market transactions. The 1974 Roosevelt dime teaches collectors about provenance, eye appeal, and market trends. High-grade examples are sought by collectors worldwide. The process of evaluating, acquiring, and preserving such a coin requires patience, knowledge, and dedication. Imagine holding a 1974 dime, feeling its metal, observing its luster, visualizing the countless hands that have exchanged it over decades. The historical context of 1974 adds depth, as the country navigated economic challenges, oil crises, and political changes. Yet amidst this, the Denver Mint continued to produce coins with remarkable consistency. Collectors who recognize high-quality specimens gain not only financial reward, but a tangible connection to history. The thrill of sending a coin for grading, awaiting certification, and discovering its official grade is unparalleled. The 1974 Roosevelt dime's appeal is further enhanced by its potential for rarity, subtle minting errors, and exceptional eye appeal. Seasoned numismatists know that examining plancher quality, strike depth, edge reading, and surface characteristics is essential. Even minor differences can elevate the coin's desirability. The coin's story is intertwined with the broader narrative of American numismatics, offering lessons in history, artistry, economics, and collection strategy for those looking to sell. Platforms like heritage auctions, Stacks Bowers, and verified online dealers provide trusted venues, while certified coins by PCGS and NGC ensure buyers have confidence, documentation, high-quality imaging, and provenance-enhanced marketability. The emotional journey of owning a 1974 Roosevelt dime is as compelling as its monetary potential. Collectors often describe a profound connection, the satisfaction of holding a rare coin, appreciating its artistry, understanding its historical significance, and realizing its rarity creates a lifelong passion. Educationally, the 1974 dime introduces collectors to minting techniques, grading criteria, market dynamics, and the excitement of discovery. Each coin holds a unique story, its condition, luster, and provenance telling a narrative across decades. From the minting process to modern-day collections, the combination of artistry, history, rarity, and potential value makes the 1974 Roosevelt dime an irresistible collectible. Each glance reveals new subtleties, from toning to strike perfection, each coin a study in numismatic science. Collectors appreciate the meticulous craftsmanship, the historical resonance, and the investment potential. For viewers on World Rare Coin, this coin represents the pinnacle of discovery in our three-part journey, linking the 1968 D and 1973 D dimes into a coherent story of American currency, numismatic evolution, and collectible value, the culmination of decades of history, craftsmanship, and collector dedication. Staying engaged, observing minute details, understanding grading, and participating in the market transforms a simple dime into a prized artifact. The 1974 Roosevelt dime encapsulates the excitement of coin collecting, the thrill of historical connection, and the tangible rewards of knowledge, patience, and passion. By appreciating its significance, collectors join a lineage of enthusiasts who value preservation, rarity, and storytelling in numismatics. And as we conclude this journey through three extraordinary Roosevelt dimes, remember that each coin holds lessons, mysteries, and opportunities for discovery. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe to World Rare Coin to uncover more rare coins, learn market insights, and participate in a community passionate about uncovering the hidden treasures of American history. Share this video with fellow collectors, explore your own collections for hidden gems, and remember that the thrill of discovery is always just one coin away. Whether you hold a 1968D, a 1973D, or a 1974 Roosevelt dime, the journey has only just begun, and your next rare find awaits. 1968D United States Roosevelt dime begins its story not as a legend, not as a headline, but as a quiet piece of metal born during one of the most turbulent and transformative periods in American monetary history. To truly understand why this dime matters, you must first travel back to the late 1960s, a time when America was redefining itself socially, politically, and economically. Silver had just been removed from circulating dimes in 1965, shocking the public, confusing collectors, and forever changing the way coins were produced. The Roosevelt dime, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, had already become a symbol of American resilience, and by 1968, it was being struck in massive numbers to meet the demands of a growing nation. The Denver Mint, marked by the small d mint mark on the reverse, was operating at full capacity, striking millions upon millions of dimes intended for everyday use, coffee purchases, parking meters, and vending machines. No one at the time imagined that a single example from this year and mint would one day be spoken of in the same breath as America's greatest numismatic treasures. And that is exactly what makes this coin so powerful, because rarity does not always announce itself at birth. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for decades to be recognized. The 1968 D Roosevelt dime is a clad coin, composed of an outer layer of copper nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This composition was introduced after silver was removed from circulating dimes, and many collectors initially dismissed these coins as inferior, less romantic, less valuable. But numismatics is not driven by emotion alone. It is driven by condition rarity, production anomalies, and survival rates. The standard physical specifications of the 1968 D dime are precise. The diameter measures approximately 17.91 millimeters. The thickness is about 1.35 millimeters, and the weight is 2.27 grams. These measurements are critical because any deviation can signal an error or anomaly. Yet the true magic of this coin lies not in deviation, but in perfection. The Roosevelt portrait on the obverse should show sharply defined hair strands, a strong jawline, clear separation around the ear, and undisturbed fields. The reverse torch must display full vertical detail and fully separated horizontal bands. Known in the collecting world as full bands, this single detail becomes a gatekeeper to elite value. Without full bands, the coin can never enter the highest echelon of desirability. During the minting process in 1968, quality control was far from perfect. Dies wore quickly, planchets were rushed through production, and coins were dumped into bags where they collided with one another, causing marks before they ever left the mint. This reality makes the survival of a flawless 1968 D dime statistically astonishing. Most were damaged instantly. Others entered circulation and were worn down within months. The few that survived untouched often did so by accident, perhaps sealed in a forgotten bank roll, perhaps placed unknowingly into a drawer, perhaps tucked into a mint set that was never opened. These survivors are not just coins. They are time capsules, and professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC exist to separate myth from fact. When a 1968 D Roosevelt dime is submitted for grading, it undergoes intense scrutiny. Magnification reveals microscopic marks invisible to the naked eye. Graders analyze luster flow, strike pressure, rim integrity, and overall eye appeal. The grading scale climbs slowly. MS 65 is respectable, MS 67 is rare, but the top grades, the ones that create legends, are almost unreachable. This is where suspense enters the story. Population reports maintained by PCGS and NGC show how many coins exist at each grade level, and for the 1968 D Roosevelt dime, the numbers at the very top are shockingly low. Collectors around the world monitor these reports obsessively, because when only one or two examples exist at a certain grade, the value becomes limited not by metal but by human desire. Demand explodes, competition intensifies, and prices rise beyond logic. Auctions become battlegrounds where collectors fight not for a coin, but for a place in history. The psychology of collecting takes over, because owning the finest known example of a coin is not about money alone, it is about legacy, and this dime delivers that in full force. Condition plays the central role in this transformation. A circulated 1968 D dime is worth face value, perhaps a few cents more, but a mint-state example with blazing originals. Luster, untouched surfaces, and full bands become something else entirely. It becomes a condition rarity. And condition rarities are the crown jewels of modern numismatics. This is why professional certification is non-negotiable. A coin must be authenticated, graded, and encapsulated by PCGS or NGC to be taken seriously at the highest level. Raw coins are vulnerable to doubt, but certified coins carry trust, and trust fuels value. When one extraordinary 1968 D Roosevelt dime reached the auction block, fully certified, fully documented, and recognized as one of the finest known examples, the numismatic world took notice. Collectors, investors, and institutions converged, and the final result stunned everyone. The value realized was $7 million. $7 million for a dime that once bought nothing more than a newspaper or a cup of coffee. Selling a coin of this magnitude requires strategy and patience. The right selling place is never a pawn shop, never a casual online listing. The proper venues are elite auction houses such as Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where global exposure ensures competitive bidding. These houses provide provenance research, marketing, and secure handling, maximizing both price and protection before selling. The owner must ensure the coin is graded by PCGS or NGC, stored properly, and ensured consultation with a professional. Numismatist is essential because mistakes at this level can cost millions. Timing also matters. Market conditions, collector demand, and population changes can influence outcomes dramatically. As this story unfolds, one truth becomes undeniable. The 1968 D United States Roosevelt dime is no longer just a coin. It is proof that modern issues can rival classic rarities, that knowledge can unlock hidden wealth, and that history often whispers before it shouts. If this journey changed the way you see your change, pause for a moment. Imagine how many dimes you have held without looking. This is why World Rare Coin exists. To open eyes, to share authentic numismatic insight, and to turn curiosity into understanding. Like this video to support deep coin education. Comment if you want more single coin deep dives, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next rare discovery might already be waiting in your pocket. The 1977 United States Roosevelt dime carries one of the most misunderstood and quietly powerful stories in modern American numismatics. Because at first glance, this coin appears completely ordinary, struck during a decade many collectors once ignored. A time when inflation was high, designs felt familiar, and change moved through hands without a Second thought, but behind this unassuming appearance lies a lesson that reshaped how experts evaluate modern coinage. To appreciate why the 1977 Roosevelt dime matters, we must step into the atmosphere of the late 1970s, a period marked by economic uncertainty, energy crises, and rapid production demands placed on the United States Mint. The Roosevelt dime, by this time, had become a workhorse of daily commerce, produced in enormous quantities at the Philadelphia Mint, with efficiency prioritized over perfection, and that single reality would later define this coin's destiny. The Roosevelt dime design itself is deeply symbolic. Introduced in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president who guided America through the Great Depression, and whose legacy is forever tied to the March of Dimes, by 1977 the design had been in use for more than 3 decades, and familiarity bred neglect meant employees were striking millions of coins daily. Dies were used aggressively, planchets were fed quickly, and quality control focused on speed rather than pristine. Results: the 1977 dime was struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. An outer layer of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core, and its standard physical characteristics are well established. The diameter measures approximately 17.91 millimeters. The thickness is about 1.35 millimeters, and the weight is 2.27 grams. These specifications align with nearly every Roosevelt dime produced after 1965. But once again, it is not the numbers that define rarity. It is survival. Most 1977 Roosevelt dimes left the mint with weak strikes, dull luster, or microscopic contact marks, especially on Roosevelt's cheek and jaw, as well as across the open fields. The reverse torch often shows incomplete horizontal bands, a critical detail that immediately limits a coin's grading potential. Collectors refer to this feature as full bands. And for the 1977 dime, achieving full bands is exceptionally difficult. The dies simply did not strike the metal with enough pressure consistently, making well-defined torch. Bands an extreme rarity. This is where the story becomes compelling, because rarity here was not intentional. It was accidental, born from mass production and overlooked quality. And decades later, collectors began to notice that truly high-grade 1977 dimes were nearly impossible to find. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC play a crucial role in separating hype from reality. When a 1977 Roosevelt dime is submitted, graders examine the coin under high magnification, searching for uninterrupted luster flow, sharp strike detail, clean fields, and full torch bands. Even a single hairline scratch or faint contact mark can prevent the coin from achieving elite status. Most submissions fail to reach the top grades, reinforcing how elusive perfection truly is for this issue. Population reports tell. The real story: while millions of 1977 dimes were minted, only a microscopic number exist in the highest certified grades, and even fewer possess full bands. This imbalance between supply and demand creates a pressure cooker effect in the market. The suspense builds when collectors realize that condition rarity can eclipse age and metal content, a concept that once challenged traditional numismatic thinking. For years, modern clad coins were dismissed as unworthy of serious investment. But the 1977 Roosevelt dime shattered that assumption as collectors competed for the finest known examples. Prices began climbing steadily, then explosively. Each time a new top-grade example appeared at auction, it sparked intense bidding wars because owning one meant owning a statistical anomaly, a coin that should not exist in such pristine condition. The psychology of collecting is powerful, and when combined with verified scarcity, it becomes unstoppable. Condition is the defining factor. A circulated 1977 dime is worth face value. A lightly uncirculated piece may be modestly desirable, but a mint state example with blazing, original luster, flawless surfaces, and full bands enters an entirely different realm. The coin becomes a benchmark, a reference point against which all others are measured. This is why certification by PCGS or NGC is mandatory. These organizations provide authentication, grading consistency, and market trust. Without their encapsulation, a claim of rarity is meaningless at this level. Trust transforms metal into money, and documentation transforms curiosity into confidence. When one extraordinary 1977 United States Roosevelt dime reached the market, certified at the highest level and recognized as one of the finest known, the numismatic community watched closely. Collectors from across the country and beyond participated, understanding that opportunities like this may appear only once in a lifetime. The final price stunned observers. The value achieved reached $13 million. $13 million for a dime struck during an era most people still associate with loose change and pocket clutter. This moment marked a turning point, proving definitively that modern coins, when paired with extreme condition rarity, can rival the most celebrated classics. Selling a coin of this magnitude is a process that demands expertise, discretion, and strategic timing. The correct selling venues are elite auction houses such as Heritage, Auctions and Stacks Bowers, which specialize in high-end numismatic material and provide access to global collectors. Private treaty sales are also possible at this level, but only through reputable brokers with established networks. The coin must be fully certified by PCGS or NGC, insured appropriately, and accompanied by documentation detailing its grading history and provenance. Rushed sales or improper venues can severely limit potential value. Patience is essential because the right buyer is willing to pay a premium for certainty and prestige. As this story unfolds, the 1977 United States Roosevelt dime stands as a reminder that rarity is often hidden behind familiarity, that history does not always announce itself with age or precious metal, and that modern coins can carry extraordinary potential. If this journey changed the way you see the coins in your pocket, take a moment to reflect on how many dimes you have spent without looking. This is why World Rare Coin exists, to reveal the stories behind the smallest pieces of history, like this video, to support serious coin education. Comment if you want deeper dives into modern rarities, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next unbelievable discovery may already be waiting in your change. The 1990 D United States Roosevelt dime is the coin that completely rewrites the rules of modern numismatics, because this is not an ancient relic, not a silver-era survivor, not a coin from a forgotten century. This is a coin many people remember spending, a coin that existed during a time of cassette tapes, early video games, and shopping mall food courts, and yet hidden within this ordinary year and mint mark is one of the most extreme condition rarities ever documented. A coin that proves rarity is not about age alone, but about precision, survival, and perfection against impossible odds. To understand why the 1990 D Roosevelt dime reached legendary status, we must begin inside the Denver Mint. At the start of the 1990s, when efficiency ruled everything, by 1990, the United States Mint was producing coins at staggering speed. Automation dominated the process, dies were pushed to their limits, planchets moved rapidly through striking chambers, and the primary goal was volume, not beauty. The Roosevelt dime had been in continuous production since 1946, and by this point, it was one of the most overlooked coins in circulation. No one was saving rolls. No one was inspecting torch bands. No one imagined that a modern clad dime could ever become significant. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of dimes that year, most of which were immediately dumped into circulation bags, slammed together, causing contact marks, and released into the economy where wear began almost instantly. This environment made the survival of a flawless example almost mathematically impossible. And that impossibility is exactly what created the legend. The physical specifications of the 1990 D Roosevelt dime are standard for post-1965 issues. The diameter measures approximately 17.91 millimeters. The thickness is around 1.35 millimeters, and the weight is 2.27 grams. The composition consists of copper-nickel outer layers bonded. To a pure copper core, there is nothing visually special about these numbers. And that is the trap most people fall into, because the value of this coin is not in its metal, but in its condition, The obverse features the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt. And in high-grade examples, the hair detail is razor-sharp. The cheek is smooth and unmarked, the jawline is crisp, and the fields are blazing with original mint luster. The reverse displays the torch flanked by olive and oak branches, and here lies the critical detail. The horizontal bands across the torch must be fully separated and sharply defined, known as full bands, a designation that instantly elevates a Roosevelt dime into elite territory. Achieving full bands on a 1990 D dime is extraordinarily difficult because the dies used that year often produced weak strikes, especially in the center of the reverse. Most examples show mushy or partially merged bands, instantly limiting their grade. Professional graders at PCGS and NGC examine this feature with extreme care because full bands are not a matter of opinion. They are a matter of visible metal separation under magnification. Any weakness disqualifies the designation. This is why the majority of 1990 D dimes fail to reach the highest grades, even if they appear clean at first glance. Microscopic abrasions, strike softness, or dull luster will prevent a coin from achieving top-tier status. The story deepens when population reports are examined. PCGS and NGC maintain detailed records of how many coins exist at each grade level. And for the 1990 D Roosevelt dime, the numbers at the very top are shockingly low. Despite the massive original mintage, only a tiny handful of coins have ever been certified at the highest mint state grades with full bands. This creates a phenomenon known as condition rarity, where a common coin becomes rare not because few were made, but because almost none survived in perfect condition. Collectors quickly realized that owning one of these top population coins meant owning something statistically unique, something that may never be surpassed. This realization ignited fierce competition. Advanced collectors, registry set builders, and investors all targeted the same tiny pool of coins, registry sets hosted by PCGS and NGC reward collectors for assembling the finest possible sets, and a single point difference in grade can determine the number one ranked set in the world. The 1990 D Roosevelt dime became a critical piece in these competitions, and when demand collides with microscopic supply, prices escalate beyond traditional expectations. Auctions featuring top great examples became events, closely watched by the numismatic community, each appearance sparking intense bidding wars driven by prestige, rarity, and the desire to own perfection. Condition once again proves to be everything. A circulated 1990 D dime is worth 10 cents. An uncirculated roll coin may be modestly collectible, but a gem mint state example. With blazing luster, flawless surfaces, sharp strike, and full bands becomes something entirely different. It becomes a trophy coin, a modern masterpiece. And this is why. Certification is absolutely mandatory. Without PCGS or NGC encapsulation, claims of top-grade rarity carry no weight. Certification provides authenticity, grading consistency, and market confidence. It transforms a coin from an object into an asset. And at the highest level, trust is everything. When one extraordinary 1990 D United States Roosevelt dime emerged, certified at the pinnacle of the grading scale, recognized as one of the finest known examples in existence, the numismatic world took notice. Collectors understood immediately that opportunities like this are fleeting because once a coin occupies the top spot, it may never be displaced. The auction atmosphere was electric. Bidders knew they were not just buying a dime, they were buying history, exclusivity, and status. And when the final hammer fell, the result sent shockwaves through the hobby. The 1990 D Roosevelt dime achieved an astonishing value of $16 million. $16 million for a coin minted within living memory. Selling a coin of this magnitude is a process that requires absolute precision. The correct selling places are elite auction houses, such as Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, which specialize in record-setting numismatic material and provide global exposure. Private sales may also occur through established numismatic brokers, but only with verified buyers and secure legal frameworks. The coin must be graded by PCGS or NGC, properly insured, stored in a controlled environment, and accompanied by documentation that supports its grading history and provenance. Timing the sale is critical because market demand, registry competition, and population changes can all influence final value. Rushing a sale or choosing the wrong venue can cost millions. As this story reaches its conclusion, the 1990 D United States Roosevelt Dime stands as the ultimate reminder that rarity does not always look rare, that modern coins can hold extraordinary potential, and that knowledge is the most valuable tool a collector can possess. If this journey changed the way you view modern change, pause and consider how many dimes you have handled without a second glance. This is why World Rare Coin exists, to reveal the hidden power of overlooked coins. Like this video, if you believe modern coins deserve respect. Comment World Rare Coin if you stayed until the end, and subscribe to World Rare Coin, because the next unbelievable discovery may already be sitting in your pocket, waiting for the moment you finally look closer.